Hi Creationists, this is my response to all your videos and arguments. Before I start, please note that I am an atheist, although later on I argue the side of rational Christianity a little, to illustrate a few points. I'm sure there must be, technically speaking as creationists, a few of you with whom perhaps I could rationally argue about the Big Bang and whether God did that or not, but for the most part I've seen only deliberate misquoting and quote mining to support your case. This is usually in opposition to evolutionary theory, which you particularly hate because you've been made to feel that it threatens your faith. Anyway, there are two things about you which particularly irritate me. The first is your moral dishonesty. In trying to refute scientific theory, you do not even bother to learn enough of the ideas you oppose, so you can't state any credible counter-arguments. In doing this, you're refusing to acknowledge what we have learned about our universe. Surely for you, that is refusing to know the true nature of God's glorious universe and therefore blasphemy. And being dishonest isn't exactly Christian, is it? And to argue against our modern perceptions of the world, which are the result of many years of careful experiment and observation by many thousands of experts, you can only quote words written thousands of years ago by superstitious folk who knew very little about their world compared to us, and therefore ascribe divine intervention to all natural disasters and diseases. One may as well believe in the cosmologies of the ancient Greeks, for instance, or the ancient Egyptians. It is obvious that any faith system which denies reality cannot have any legitimate claim to be able to explain it, and furthermore any faith system which misuses information purely to provide the appearance of justification for its ideas is obviously a fantasy, maybe even a delusional one. But I'm afraid it's something more sinister than that, something I'm sure even you might call evil. The leaders of your movement are in it for the money and simply exploit you by such means as selling books which are designed to mislead you in areas where you have little actual knowledge, for instance by making it appear that scientific knowledge threatens the fundamentals of your faith. But in fact this isn't necessarily so. They have steered you into an obsessive negative expression of your faith. These people are perverting your faith into a means for making money for them, and they are well aware that they are deceiving you. They are distracting you from the central principles of your faith, which Jesus laid down for you in his famous Sermon on the Mount, the Christian values of love and compassion and mindfulness. They are making you indulge in neurotic hostility. That to me is not Christian but anti-Christian. They have given you nothing, taught you nothing new which is not false. They have brought you only fresh enemies and ridicule, all at a cost of millions of dollars. They are cynical, manipulative parasites, con men who are poisoning your thoughts and feelings. One favourite old trick is the insistence that every word of the Bible must be true because it is the Word of God. But here's just one example that might open your eyes a bit. Compare the different Gospels' versions of what happened outside the tomb on the morning following the crucifixion. How will you choose which version is correct? Because they differ, I mean, if they're all the Word of God, they must all be true, but they can't all be true simultaneously, so therefore are they really the direct Word of God? The truth is that the Bible contains too many contradictions and conflicts with history and geography to be absolute truth. You can check this for yourself at any time, but why should this be so disastrous for you? It shouldn't if you see the Bible in its proper context. And in itself this doesn't prove that God doesn't exist. Even if the original texts of the Bible were given by God, since that time they've been rewritten, lost, translated badly, translated deliberately dishonestly for political reasons, over and over again over the past 2,000 years. It simply is not rational to claim the whole Bible is true, and to argue so simply makes it obvious that you're ignorant about your own holy book. My second complaint, on top of the foregoing, is how you arrogantly try to lay down the law for other Christians about how they should believe God has created the universe. Who are you, with your ignorance, to tell others how they should interpret their holy book? I've met many Christians who quite happily accept the idea of evolution as being part of God's grand plan, and accept what we have learned about life and our universe because we should learn truths about God's universe, not ignore them or deny them. How do you know evolution is not God's means of effecting change? Do you claim to know the mind of God? Isn't that blasphemy too? And the saddest thing is, when you deny knowledge of the universe, you deny yourself the opportunity to appreciate its true beauty and elegance and subtlety. You have turned away from the glory of God and his creation. I must remind you here that I am an atheist, and as I said earlier, I'd argue the side of rational Christianity to illustrate a few points, and I've now done so. Anyway, how else are you to find God except by looking honestly at what he created? Finally, I just have to point out that the scientific method is how we find out truths about the universe on all scales. You don't deny the truth of the science which makes possible your medical care and your comfortable lifestyle. Things like CRT scanners work, don't they? And mobile phones. These are all, these things are not possible without the latest advanced scientific theories that explain the natural laws that underlie the physical phenomena which surround us and we live in and we are part of. It's exactly the same method which revealed the phenomena of natural selection and the distances and compositions of the stars and planets and galaxies, and tells us about their past and future. So, if you want to go on to be a Christian, at least be an honest one, and be an honest creationist too, if that's possible. Stop denying all the evidence, because we're just going to continue laughing at you.